Hi there, my name is Beck, and the Rabbi from another planet. Please like, share, and subscribe, and ring the little bell so you're notified when new videos drop. And I have wandered into a bit of a quagmire here. I didn't think I was going to be doing that, but I absolutely did. When I started talking about the trans thing, I think that the Big Finish Eighth Doctor release, Stranded, really brought me to that when the main characters is a trans actress, and their story is, I think, quite a significant quite a significant plot point to it. So that's really what brought me in here. But boy, it's a strange place to be in, and I, my overwhelming mistake, my mistake I make over and over again is I assume I'm dealing with people who are like sane and normal and like want to get along and like aren't like crazy. That's always my default assumption, and that's always where I come unstuck. Yeah, so again, that's the wacky little world I've walked into. So the question I'm going to be asking is it ever okay not to be able to laugh at yourself? Is it ever okay not to be able to laugh at yourself? And spoiler alert, I think no. But we're going to be talking about humor. We're going to be talking about stuff that's I think much more global than the transition. I always try to like to get to the what I think is the nub of things. And I really would like to have a dialogue with people who disagree with me, but they just don't want to talk. The overwhelming is my overwhelming experience. But if you have anything to say, please don't be afraid to say it to me. And don't be afraid to hear my answer either. Which is, again, this is all going to tie into the stuff we're going to be talking about today. Fine. Before we get there, can I ask you guys? Can you hit the subscribe button? My subscribers have gone down over the last couple of days. Oh, I'm not happy about that. Can you hit the subscribe button? Thank you very much. I'm incredibly grateful. I haven't given away this prize yet. I meant to yesterday, but I forget. Tomorrow, when I do my live stream tomorrow at 5 o'clock, I will give it away. Just DREDD, the Complete Crime Files of Volume 5 with Death Lives art by Brian Bolland and the Apocalypse War, plus a ton of other Just DREDD stories. All you need to do to win it is subscribe to the channel and in the comments leave the hashtag Death Lives. Death Lives. So the question is, moving on. So the question is it ever okay not to laugh at yourself? I'm going to say probably not in most situations not. But let's talk about, I think we're going to talk about humor, but let's take a step back and say, is this about, the trans debate? Is this video really about the trans debate? And I don't think it is. I think it's much more about a segment of society, which I'm going to call kids, okay? And this is how I'm defining it. Kids are people, I'm calling anybody a kid who still wants to look cool, who still grooms and makes themselves, puts on cool glasses, cool jacket, whatever, just really makes, has a look they want to make themselves look like a cool, cool guy. Now, everybody has vanity through the life, but like when you get into like your mid-40s, 50s, you're like, this is basically who I am. This is basically who I am, and you can pour perfume on a pig, but it becomes less of a big deal. So that's what I'm defining as kids. Then you could be in your 50s and still be a kid. You could be in your 20s and not be a kid. I'm saying it's more of an attitude than a physical, a physical state of being. Yeah, that's basically what I'm talking. So, and it's about those people, that group of people, and their absolute inability to coexist with people who do not look at the world in the same way they do. They an absolute inability. So I want to put this into context. Now, I know many devout Christians. I know many atheists. So a devout Christian believes that the Jews killed God. Okay, killed their God. That's really bad. And there's been a little bit of animosity between Christians and Jews the last couple of thousand years because of it. You may have noticed it was called the Crusades, but they flared up every now and again as well. But Christians have a real good reason to find Jews disgusting and despicable. Because again, according to their doctrine, we killed their God. So gay people have a lot of reasons to look at both Christians and Jews and Muslims as like despicable, terrible people. Because the Old Testament is pretty, unequivocal. It's not into same-sex relations at all. It's just not something that's smiled upon, And yet, strangely enough, we all managed to get along for a long time. We all have really fundamental differences in our worldviews. We have fundamentally opposing worldviews that would categorize each one of us as evil in the other's eyes. But that's not how we want to live. That's not how, you can live like that, and there have been people who live like that. They're called zealots. They're called bigots. But the Western civilization, I think the greatness of Western civilization has been we found a way of getting beyond, our own personal view of reality and being able to interact and have good, strong, warm, personal relationships with people. Yeah, even though our worldviews diametrically opposed. Jews, Christians, that's how Muslims, pretty much everybody else. Our worldviews in certain respects diametrically oppose each other. But because we don't view each other as our identity, I think we view each other as people. That's why we're able to see beyond these theological and ideological differences. I think people are just basically people. It doesn't really matter of their mindsets, and so that's the first thing. I think it's that group of people absolute inability to want to live peaceably with other people. So that's the first part of the puzzle. The second part of the puzzle is that group of people. Once again, the Twitterati. Let's call them that. The Twitterati. For some reason, sees themselves sees this I think it's a holy duty upon them to be the morality police, to be the police to tell us who is right, who is wrong, what is good, what is bad. And if you defy them, if you do not agree with them, you're doubly evil. You're doubly a heretic. So my first question is again. I see. This all started with Ben Cook, who's an author, a fantastic author. God, his interview work in Doctor Who magazine, just breathtakingly good. It's so stunningly better than everybody else, and that's not really a disorder. But I think he really redefined this whole thing. And I have no idea where his career is going beyond that. I wish him all the best, but. He got into a spat with Noel from the TARDIS Zone. Was it yesterday? And it was like a lengthy spat. And I had no idea what started it. I think Noel probably tweeted something at him about Doctor Who magazine not doing so well. So again, when somebody tweets something at me, I tend to ignore it because again, really important. It's really important that all these people understand something really, really vital. Twitter isn't real. Twitter is not real. Put that into context for you. What does it mean that Twitter isn't real? Okay, let's put that into context with you. People act differently in different circumstances, but there's a different level of separation. Let's say you're driving. Now, I'm not a driver. I was kind of surprised when I was in a car with my wife. This was when we were reasonably newly married, right? So about 25 years ago. We're tootling down and somebody cuts off my wife and suddenly she's screaming, "You piece of crap!" Like she's screaming. I'm like, "Whoa, what the hell?" It basically became apparent to me that when you got you're in a box of steel with a piece of glass in front of you and that person you're talking at is also in the still box who can't hear you. Yeah, you may sometimes scream, but if you're in an elevator with somebody and they do say, you're not going to go right up in their face, go, "Can you piece of crap?" You're not going to do that, right? This is the same thing with Twitter. I would really recommend everybody talk to people on Twitter as if you're talking to them to face. That's how I generally speak to people. But if the people on Twitter that acted like the morality police in real life, could you imagine what massive dour jerk-offs they'll be? Of course you can imagine what massive dour jerk-offs would be, because we see that's what they're like in real life, in Twitter. Massive dour jerk-offs. So guys, unless there's a reason for it, you got to ask yourself, what is my goal here? And universally, I think your goal is to make yourselves feel good about yourself. Go, I've told that person that they're a naughty deplorable. Yeah, I think that's what it's really, genuinely, always all about. Making yourself feel better about yourself and using people's identity to do that, which is not a good thing. I would go as far as call that a bad thing. So Twitter isn't real. That's the first thing. So let's say somebody comes up to your Twitter, says something you don't really like. I don't understand getting in these lengthy Twitter fights with absolute strangers. Now, it's something like I did post something on Facebook the other day, and I just got a ton of crap in one Doctor Who group, which is like just full of like exactly these people who cannot stand anybody not joining the group the group think which is really what it is. It's like it's a total intolerance for this group thing. So again, I want to pull it back to the question: like, is it ever okay not to laugh at yourselves? And I think and the answer I think is generally speaking no. And if you have a group of people who refuse to be able to see the humor in themselves, who refuse to be able to acknowledge the humor, the humor in themselves, I think you might have a problem. So that's really what I've done. So let's look at these things that are not allowed to be fun anymore. It's been reclassified from funny to offensive. So let's talk about why it was funny. Why, and the BBC has completely, as one would expect, capitulated to the mob. So let's talk about why was this funny? Why at some point in time was this funny? And there's other examples of similar humor. We have this Monty Python, John Cleese, Michael Palin. And who was this? Eric Idle? I can't. But why was this funny? Why did people find this funny? It's funny, I think, because several reasons. But I think the core of it is the absurdity of it. The absurdity is when you have two things that are like very disparate and they invert between one another. And normally, absurd humor, to really work, there's a level of discomfort that is addressing, because human beings, they deal with discomfort through humor, through laughing at it. So what's the discomfort that could possibly be the source of the humor in this? And that discomfort is that I think for the vast majority of human beings, the absolute vast majority of human beings, for I think the entirety of our species history, is that our gender is something that's very intrinsic to our own personal identity. I think it's same is true. Basically, if you throw a brick throughout time and space of your human history, if you hit a person with that brick that you just threugh that time and space, you'll probably change reality. You'll change the future. But other than that, you also probably hit somebody who feels the same way. The idea that one's gender isn't hardwired into them is an uncomfortable one for many people. And I don't think any people have problems with people who don't, who do feel that their gender is fluid. Again, we've had transvesticism throughout our culture with no problems whatsoever. One of the most beloved, beloved musicals is the Rocky Horror Picture Show. That it's absolutely beloved in our culture, and it has been for the better part of 50 bloody years. It celebrates transvestism. Nobody has a problem with it. So I don't think anybody has a problem with somebody doing something that they would personally find uncomfortable. But that for most people, they find the idea of changing the stereotypes of their gender to be deeply uncomfortable. Now I understand people of the Twitteratists' point of view say that's only because it's a social construct. Gender is a social construct. I understand that's your belief. I understand that's your faith. I understand that. But again, a Christian has a different faith to me. A Jew has a different faith from a Muslim. And we are all able to coexist. We are all able to coexist. But again, I'm not sure if they want coexistence. Really, what triggered this? I had somebody who was subscribed to my channel. They unsubscribed. They were very, very upset at the video I did yesterday. And and I don't understand why. I don't understand why they blocked me on Facebook. I replied to them. I was like, it was a very genuine reply. I am sorry they're upset, but I don't think they're interested in finding ground and not being upset. I think they're genuinely interested in being upset. I think, in short, the word we're looking for. I think we're dealing with a drama queen. And I'm sorry to go. And if you're not, I do apologize. I would love you to come on the channel. I would love you to come on the channel and for us to talk about that. But I think there's probably, and this sent me back to Gareth Roberts' tweet when they tried to cancel him last year. And he is, I think, for just about the entirety of his career from at this moment, he is cancelled from Doctor Who. I don't think we're seeing any more Gareth Roberts Doctor Who. It was such a shame because on over the weekend I was looking through my old Doctor Who magazines trying to find an article, and I came across just a few years ago Gareth Roberts winning the Doctor Who magazine's annual poll for best book when I think it was Sharda when he wrote Sharda. But I think he's been cancelled from Doctor Who. And the thing that got him cancelled from Doctor Who is when he talked about trans people. He talked about trans people and their propensity for being drama queens, for being very overly dramatic. So that's probably one of the, I think that's the trait you'll find at a higher level of of instance with trans. I don't know. I don't know the data. It seems to me there may be more. There is definitely a propensity for being dramatic, being a drag queen. Being a drag queen is very, very showy. Being very, I think that is by definition dramatic. But again, this isn't to say that those people who are like that they shouldn't be able to live within our society. It's not to be upset at all. I just wish this person. I replied right them in the comments as well. They put another link in. I guess I'll watch it. But again, it's this. I think this insane attitude that people who are trans are fighting against anything. They're not. They're not. This person went in their message to me said the trans people just want to be treated like everybody else. Just want to be treated. Well, part of being treated like everybody else is being able to laugh at ourselves, being able to take a joke, being able to laugh at ourselves is very, very important. So, Charles, would you laugh at Jews? People making fun of Jews, and the answer is yes, because Jews basically do that quite a lot. If I can draw your attention to Exhibit A over here, Jews, Orthodox Jews, look reasonably comical. It's impossible to move away from that basic realization. They look reasonably comical, and I can understand why they would be, why people would find them comical. And people who find them most comical, normally Jews. Being able to laugh at yourself, I think, is the barometer of how relaxed you are with your own identity. And there, I think we're really at the problem. That I don't think that any of these people who are screaming that we must obey them, that we must, that we cannot think differently to them, they're just very, very insecure with their own identity. So and let's look at other things that should be forbidden. This is Mel Brooks, famous Jewish comedian Mel Brooks. Let's have a little zoom in and see what he's doing. He's doing that's another one. He's doing quite a comical Hitler impersonation. Very famous Jewish comedian doing a Hitler moustache Hitler thing. And you know why? You know why he's doing that? Because it's always healthy to be able to laugh at yourself. It's always healthy to be able to see the absurdity in oneself and the absurdity in the situation. I'll give you more examples. This is I can't remember the character's name is Schulz. He's another Jewish actor who very famously played one of the 1930s social democrats. And of course we had the many comedy 1930s Germany social democrat, which I absolutely love. Now, what the reality is, these people are terrible people in real life. Absolutely the worst people. I mean, not the actors, obviously. They are the worst. Well, they were the worst people that I think humanity has ever produced. They did absolutely terrible things, and it makes us feel very uncomfortable as human beings. That as human beings did these things. That's why it's so important to be able to laugh at these things. It's so important to be able to laugh at things. So I think another problem people run into is oftentimes there is hateful humor. If you look at the Social Democrats, German Social Democrats caricatures of Jews, making fun of Jews. That wasn't so good. So what's the difference? What is the bloody difference between why is it okay to laugh at this and not that? And I think you have to ask yourself, what is the motivation? Is the motivation clearly hateful, or is the motivation to say we are laughing at ourselves? Let me turn those back on again, and go to this picture. This picture again, which is verboten now by the BBC. David Walliams, I believe is his name. Now, David Walliams, is he being hateful towards trans people? No. Here's what I'm saying. I think he's saying that trans people is part of him, part of his society, part of Britain. Little Britain was a TV show, and it was part of us, and it's a kind of a glorious and somewhat funny part of himself. He's laughing. He's not laughing at you. He's laughing at himself because he sees you as one of him. And that's really the difference. And that's, I think, the problem that that these people who can't coexist with anybody who doesn't have their same faith as them, and these bigots, these zealots, these people who cannot coexist. What's their problem? Their problem is they see all humor. They see all humor as being mean spirited, and that's just not a good way to live life. You walk around being angry all the time, which is essentially what they are. They essentially walk around being spitting mad and angry about everything, which is just not a good way to live. So, I'm going to give some unsolicited advice from Jewish philosophy, because that's kind of just where I get all my advice from. It's where it all comes from. But, you don't have to be Jewish. You don't have to believe in God, don't believe in anything, but I think it will genuinely make your life happier and better. I think, a fundamental problem I have with these, I think these people have, these Twitterati have, is they always go for the most malicious interpretation of anything humanly possible, as long as it will reinforce their worldview. Because I think they're very desperate for their worldview to be reinforced, because there's so many things that have been chipped away at their worldview for the last few years. Basically, all the elections going exactly the opposite way that they think they should. There's melted their minds. But they see things in the most malicious way possible when it conforms with the worldview. So here's the advice I'm going to give: do the opposite of that. Try and have the best interpretation. It's called having an eye on top, having a good eye. Look at things in like what could be the doesn't have to be unrealistic. It doesn't have to be an unrealistic interpretation of it, but it has to be a credible interpretation of it. But like, just to ask you, is this the most malicious interpretation possible, or is there a way, maybe even a more probable way of looking at it, where this person isn't intrinsically evil and hates you and wants to strangle your existence? That's really, and if you can do that, I think everybody can get on much easier. I think you are going to be much happier. Your life will be much happier. So that would be my advice for you guys. My name is Felix Becken, the Rabbi from another planet. Please like, share, and subscribe, and ring that little bell so you're notified when new videos drop.